friends, and good brunchanoon, and welcome to our Peach Brunch. Hey, I'm loving y'all. I miss you.
You did. You missed me, honey. I miss you too. I missed you.
I did.
How y'all doing?
And now we have a new friend that's joined us.
We do. I have brought my friend Justin
Hi,
with
Justin.
us. How are you?
Good.
So Justin, tell us exactly who you are, what you do, what your brand is all about.
I am a manager. I am marketing and advertising manager. So I travel the country advertising and promoting brands for Fortune 500.
Okay, well, welcome to our
Thank you.
brunch,
Thanks for having me.
You're
I'm
so
Yes.
welcome.
Look, everything.
We are
looks
glad
great.
you were
We
here.
always
Look.
come together for good food
Yeah.
And good
and
topics.
good topics of conversation. So
I have a really good
you
topic
already
today.
ready for it?
I'm ready.
We're going to jump right in.
Listen, so on my way to brunch, I happened to be listening to the radio today.
Okay.
And they were talking about, in the last week in Atlanta, 2 trans girls have been killed.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I heard about that. Yeah.
And
I
I
heard
think
about
it's
it.
really, really interesting. And it ties to a conversation that I had a few weeks ago with someone. And it was truly around why in 2023 do we still judge a book by its cover? And so knowing what I know about like my experience and trans women's experience, a lot of times people have an issue with how other people live their lives. Right.
I don't understand that.
I mean, it is judgment out here in this
It's
world.
a lot of
It's a lot
judgment,
of
right?
but-
And so not just necessarily talking about like the trans experience, but just experiences in general, people in general.
Yeah.
What about society has made us comfortable to continue to keep judging people by what's on the outside versus getting the opportunity to get to know them? So that's kind of what I want to talk about today.
Well, that's the first thing you always see. I mean, that's the thing we're taught initially as children, where in order to avoid hazardous situations and things like that, then we're taught to be cautious of the way things look.
Okay,
Right.
but
You know
that's
what I
as a
mean?
child, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
as a child.
Uh-huh.
But as an adult,
Yeah.
But
You're
we're all just
responsible.
big children in some cases. You know what I
Right.
mean? We don't shed a lot of what we're being taught. But what do you think, Justin? Bring your new perspective to the
Well,
group.
I will say this. With so much going on in the world today, it's hard not to judge a person, a book by its cover.
Why you say that?
Because some people are really out here wearing their heart on their sleeves.
Okay.
Like, their feelings are really out here.
So they're
And
showing who they are.
They are showing who they are.
And they want you to see it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like, because on the internet, everybody's on that. I don't give a fuck. Everybody want to do
Type
what
of
they want
vibe.
to do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'm for
You
it.
know,
I mean, we're talking about living your best life. You got to be living your authentic life.
Right.
But we talking about if you live in your authentic life, why are people judging you
why are
for
people
what you're
judging you?
living?
Exactly. Because here's the thing. I find that when people do that, that there are a lot of individuals that are losing their lives, like in case of these 2 women.
Yeah.
I don't know the full
That's so
details of the
sad.
situation, but what I can assume is that someone wasn't comfortable with their experience. And so they decided to take their own life. They decided to take this person's life, right? And so
Do you
again,
do you think that the community is out here being honest with, let's just say, men or maybe what we call cis men that won't?
Well, in 2023,
For sure.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I absolutely think.
So you don't think that was any other reason?
no,
You know
Okay.
what?
not at all.
From my understanding, I did read something about that was her boyfriend. That was her boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
you know,
So that
who
gets a
knows?
little
It may
deeper.
have just
So you
been
knew a domestic
in-house-
violence type of
yeah,
situation.
and it just went wrong because based off of what I seen on the internet, the women were beautiful. They are beautiful women.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, when you're doing all of the transition,
Yeah.
you can go all the way
They
the
went all
direction
the way.
you want to go. Right.
Yeah, they're
I mean, with the
beautiful women.
hair, the
Yeah.
body.
Mhm.
But I
Right.
mean, candidly, it's no different, in my opinion, in that community than women that's considered in the cis community. Because we going all the way. They're
Right.
going to get ass, they getting breast, everybody got lace front,
Right.
everybody got the horse eyelashes
Right.
that's all the way out here.
Not horse
So how can
eyelashes.
you know what I mean? So at that point, if you're a man out here looking for a woman, you can't really differentiate if it's a woman, a cis woman, that we might consider heterosexual from a trans because we looking the same.
But I say men just love the aesthetic of
do.
a woman.
Period.
Period. Man, whether it's trans or,
So you going to be out here getting tricked. And if you are, then don't be mad.
Listen, and that topic will take us so long to unpack, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't think nobody's out here trying to trick
nobody. It's 2023. Nobody's out here doing
But everybody being tricked, though, because even when you on your...
I don't think nobody being tricked.
I think they being...
Baby,
when we get in these rooms... with all this extra stuff, they tricking. It's like that old movie, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, where you get her in the room and then she start throwing her leg off and her butt.
But she doesn't have to do that. Listen, at the end of the day, a man that is attracted to a woman that is of trans experience, he knows that she's a transgender woman at the end of the day. And she doesn't have to hide it. What I'm saying is, we tend to judge people just by looking at them, right? And I even take it to, in corporate America, if I'm black, why am I judged on my skin color more than what my abilities are, more than what my experience is, more than what I can bring to the table, the value that I add? Why do we continue to keep judging people based on how they look?
I think it's a lack of understanding of what people are going through.
Right. Exactly.
If you're doing a transition, or even if you're in love with somebody that's in a transition and you're a man, and now you have this expectation, or maybe men have this expectation that other men or anybody else needs to look at me as a heterosexual man. And so if I choose to deal with somebody that's going through a transition, that's my choice.
Right.
And I don't think that now they're comfortable because other people are going to judge them for the choices they're making.
Your choice. And so here's what I think. In our community, the black community, we have not created a space where individuals can be their authentic self, where they can live their life with no judgment.
Yeah. Now, who do you think is causing that? When you say in our community, you think just from our upbringing, you think we're still raising our kids?
Men and black women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I think it's through and through.
Women, they.
But what are we doing to for you to not feel like you can be a part of the black community because you are the black community? What are we doing?
Not respecting personal life choices.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because they might not understand those personal life choices, or why?
Lack of education is what's holding us back.
Okay.
A lot of people don't want to be educated on our community.
Exactly.
Why do you think we don't want to be educated though?
Because it's not your life. Yeah. And you feel like you don't necessarily live that lifestyle, so therefore you don't care. When you need to understand that it's more than just your life that's going on in the world, Exactly. You have to be respectful of other people's lifestyles and life choices.
Exactly. It's the same thing of whenever we talk about Black Lives Matter, I'm out there fighting
We want white people to care about us.
Exactly.
So why can't we care about each other no matter what we're doing within our own community?
Exactly.
Right.
Like
all Black Lives Matter.
I don't feel like
not just the straight ones.
When homosexuals are murdered, I feel like we get the least attention, on the news, because of, oh, he was gay, it doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? And that's not cool. And then us as a community, when, heterosexual and our black men are getting murdered and we feeling similar, that we don't care about, another black man died. And it was like, well, you didn't care about our community when, when our people died. Well, but it shouldn't be my people, your people.
That's what I was about to say.
It's
together. Just people.
I know,
it's
but
just people.
I say
we should be less judgmental.
Right.
And more focused on the person's experience, how we make them comfortable, and allowing them to just live their best authentic life and not being worried about what happens in their four walls.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this, though, because let's just say I'm the only person at the table now that's kind of representing what we call the cis community in a sense, right? So why is it that there has to be all these different communities? Why is it that there has to be a separation to have some understanding?
It doesn't have to be, but we've been forced to create our own community.
But how? Why are you forced to?
Judgment, right? Again, lack of education. We've been shunned out. We've been kind of put out, right? So we've had to create spaces for our own selves where we feel comfortable, because in this world, we don't necessarily get the respect, or we don't necessarily get the comfort to be our authentic selves. So we've had to create separate communities that allows us to be our authentic self.
But that's what happens in the black community, period. So I know we separating it, but we all in this same thing together. We don't get respect, and we can say
but are
this.
we?
But I say, in his community, I mean, not in his community, in our community. Look, I'm sorry, man. Look, to piggyback off of what you just said, that's the reason why in our community we have so many families. We have to create our own families, because our families are They don't know. They don't know.
They
don't know how to, nurture us and take care of us. A lot of us, that's the reason why we have other trans women, we call them mom, and, because they've been there for us.
Well, answer this for me.
Mm-hmm.
How do I nurture you in the community if you're in my family?
Educating yourself.
I mean,
on the community and what we go
well,
through.
I understand, but I don't really want to educate myself on no community. I just want to cut it real.
I give you this. If you had a child that was of that experience or any experience in general.
Yes. Yeah.
The one thing that you lead with is just love.
Yeah.
Recognizing that this is just a human.
Okay, so let's get to that.
And not separating it.
Let's get to that. But when you start coming with your authentic self and saying, this is who I am, people have no choice if they love you to accept you.
Right.
Then you make the decision.
Sounds easy on paper.
Yeah, but I think
it doesn't really happen out there.
But that's where it begins. Because if you have the family that raised you and you're like, is this person going to accept me? And by the way, I have that as an individual with whether my family going to accept me with just the decisions I make.
Right.
So I think that's where there is still the community. But when there's a separation to some degree, in my opinion, where you create another community, it's like, give me a chance to understand. Don't just say because you're not going to understand, because sometimes you don't even tell people that this is what you're going through, so they have some understanding. You just go and create a whole nother community, and it's like, I want to be a part of that community.
But you have to understand where it stems from. Separate communities are created because a lot of times these individuals have been put out of their homes by the family that's raised them.
Okay, well,
so it's different than just having, they want to go out and create it. It's a difference of, the person
who don't want to be loved from their
who don't want to be loved, right?
Original.
They haven't been accepted.
Period,
because they've been judged.
Yes.
And that's what happens a lot of times in our black community.
You're in a
We're
community
very judgmental
to be judged. People that
in theory, that sounds good.
Judged. You can be an orphan child and you're gonna be judged and put out of your family.
Very true, but I'm gonna tell you one thing that we do in the black community.
Well,
not only are we the minority in the population, right? We also create this hierarchy in the black community, right? Meaning, well, I'm straight and I look this way, but because you're gay or because you're trans, you're well beneath me.
Right.
Okay.
Right?
You black, but you're under us.
You're under us,
but
right?
What is
I give you a great example.
How do people determine that hierarchy?
It's just how people. This is their judgment. I think it's just unsubconscious judgment.
Women and kids.
But we have to get to the point of.
That's who I be feeling like the hierarchy is. The women and kids. It feels like that's the all be all say all.
So so in your opinion, that's like. When we look at women and children, they matter, but men don't matter. And then men don't matter.
A lot of times, that's the way women make men feel. Like, you know how many times that I've been told that I was a waste of man because I have different, I'm a handsome man. Yeah. I mean, I know this. We ain't gonna cap about that. Look, I know what I know. So
you are right.
I've been told that I've been a waste of man because of my life's choices, or I've chosen myself. Ooh, I just know. Man, you just, that.
Well, I mean, when we get to the primitive part of ourselves, let's just get to the root of it. If we're looking at black women, the only thing that's going to sustain the black community is black men and black women together having children. Now, things are changing in society because now
women are so broken and bitter, and I don't mean to even go here.
I
don't mean to go there about this. But sometimes women are a little bit. I'm serious.
Well, I don't know that they're broken and bitter. I'm gonna tell you where women coming from. Some of them might be
bitter,
but
honey.
One thing that black women want more than anything is a black man.
That's
and I
true.
think that's what starts off the problem with the judgment, because they're like exactly what you said. I wish I had a black man, and now you're a waste of a man because you might have a preference for another choice, and it's not a woman.
And that's not.
But that's ignorance because she just hating what she can't have. Go find something you can.
But that's only a fraction of it, right? Again, we started off the conversation by saying there are trans women that are being murdered because of the experiences that they're living, and a part of that is because they're being prejudged because of how they decided to live their authentic life.
Because there's a lack of understanding. And we
is there?
Be,
I don't think there's a lack of understanding.
I think it is. Nobody knows why you're making those decisions.
But it shouldn't matter. It's my life. It should not matter. What it is that you should not be judging a book by its cover. You should mind your own business that pays you.
That's fact.
And that is what we need to work on.
And all you saying is
respect.
All you saying is mind your business.
Mind your business.
Okay.
And allow people to live their authentic self.
It all boils down to respect.
Well, you guys heard that from my crew today because they educated me. The net of this is don't judge a book by its cover, and the main concept
mind your business.
Mind your business.
Mind your business. Respect yourself and respect others.
So take this conversation back to your peach brunch as we continue this conversation in our peach brunch. We'll see you later.
Ciao.